Hello my lovelies, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, hi, my name is Mary and I give you an extra warm welcome. I would love it if you grabbed a snack, stayed for a while and click the subscribe button. I would love to have you. And if you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. I appreciate you more than you know. My husband is home and he's downstairs with the kiddos, as I'm sure you can hear. So it's a very cloudy and we're talking dark, almost like charcoal black clouds. I don't have too much natural light to work with, so I do have my ring light on and it's up a lot higher than I normally have it. It's not as dimmed down as I usually have it. So apologies in advance, but this is what I have to work with. And as you could tell by the title of the video, my Unearthly Cosmetics order is here. This is the Resurgence palette that they collaborated with Heather Austin. There are so many reviews up already that I decided when it comes in, I'm just going to do a 3 looks 1 palette and just show you different eye looks that you can create with this eyeshadow palette if you decided to pick it up. So that's what we're doing today in this video. If you want to see what kind of eye looks I come up with, then just go ahead and keep on watching. I'm a little casual for this portion of the video. I don't know yet if I'm going to be able to film all 3 eye looks in one day. We shall see. But for right now, I'm in my hoodie. Just FYI, I'm a little casual. Okay, so this is how the palette came in. And as you can see, there's a lot of space in here, right? But do not fear. It came in this little bubble wrap. You take it out and it has its own little special box. This is a pretty sturdy box and it's a magnet box. So it opens up like that. You open it, it has the little foam cover up top, and then boom, there is the palette, nice and safe, doesn't move. It's not going to come broken. Absolutely love that. I feel like Unearthly Cosmetics and Adept Cosmetics as well have always been so good when it comes to their packaging. There is the outer, the unicorn, and pull out this beautiful palette. So pretty, and it opens up like a book. Here is, and then there it is. So it is a very colorful color story. Definitely not for the faint of heart. And if you're scared to play with color and you purchased this, that means that you must really adore Heather Austin. Yeah, so it's a very beautiful palette. Beautiful. Okay, my lovelies, I am on the Unearthly Cosmetics website. Huge congratulations to Heather Austin. I definitely feel like this palette is perfect. It's colorful, it's grungy. Like from what I see on her channel, like this palette, it describes her 100%. And also congratulations to Unearthly Cosmetics. They picked a great YouTuber to do a collaboration with. So I only picked up the palette, but the collection does come with the palette, a lip gloss, and a highlighter duo with duochrome highlighters in it. It looks very beautiful, but if I'm being completely honest with myself, I wouldn't pick up those items after the review. So I wanted to make sure that I picked up something that I knew I would use. Although this color story is not my color story and I would probably have to make it a point to pick it up, I still do really enjoy it. I think it's absolutely stunning, and Unearthly Cosmetics is definitely a brand that I want to dip my toes into a tiny bit more, and all the more reason for me to have purchased this. So the bundle of the whole collection will retail for $86 and the palette itself retails for $45. Now I believe you have to spend a certain amount to get free shipping, so when all was said and done, I think I probably paid close to $60 for this. But I'm supporting Heather Austin. I love her channel, I love her content, and that for me was important to do, and so it didn't hurt so much to actually purchase this palette. Now everybody is different, and for some people that might be too much, and that's perfectly okay. This is just what I decided to do, and I wanted to support Heather. Let me go ahead and get some eye primer on, and I'll start with the eye looks, and I'll do the swatches after the eye looks. I always do that. I'm not sure why. When I watch especially eyeshadow palette reviews, I skip through the swatches. For me personally, I'm not that interested in them unless it's in a palette that I'm really interested in. Then I do watch the actual swatches,
but I usually skip over them.
Okay, the MAC Paint Pot in Soft Ochre is on. Let's get started with this first eye look. All right, so I think I have an idea of what I'm going to do. We're going to start with this beautiful blue shade, Cosmology. This is a Sigma and a Samantha Ravindell detail blending brush. And I think I'm going to do a halo eye. I've been on a halo eye kick, so I hope what I'm envisioning in my head I can actually bring to life. This is actually going to be just the smallest amount. I brought you in a tiny bit closer so you could see better. So I'm starting with tapping motions because I want the most pigment concentrated in certain areas, and tapping it in is the best way to get that. Okay, and I'm doing two different eye looks, so one on this side and one on this side. Now I'm going to jump into this pretty, it's almost like a gray purple Cerumbus. I think that's how you pronounce that. If I am incorrect, just let me know down below. Okay, this is a little Natasha Denona eyeshadow brush. Okay, so I'm going to use this to kind of blend out the edges of that blue. And I am going to, and if you lose a tiny bit of that blue, it's okay. Just go back and reinforce it. I don't know yet if I'm going to connect it all the way. So now this side over here, all the way in. Okay, this is what we got so far. That pretty purple shade, it's pretty light. It almost reminds me of a pastel shade. So I did have to really build it up. Okay, now we're going to jump into a shimmer, and I'm having the hardest time picking which one. I've kind of been eyeing this one right here. So I think I'm gonna go with that one, Creation. Most of these are pretty dark. Oh, but that one actually, it looks like it doesn't really have too much of a base. Okay, so I think that's going to be perfect. I did go into my trusty NYX glitter glue. You don't have to use NYX glitter glue, but I like to. So I'm going to use this dual-ended brush from Sigma. It's from the Alice in Wonderland collection, and the lettering, E54. The lettering on this is so small, sometimes it's hard to read. Okay, so I am going to pick up that Creation shade with the brush because I feel like when I apply shimmers with a brush, the application is just a tiny bit softer than it would to be with your finger. And I want this to be soft. Like, I know this is a pretty bold look just because of the shades I picked, but you can also make it tiny bit soft to help with that. Okay, that's what we're looking like. And I actually want to apply just a tiny bit of this white shimmer here, which is called Life. Is it? Yeah, it feels creamy. Is it a matte? It might be a matte with a tiny bit. Okay, never mind, because I think it's a matte that has maybe a tiny bit of shimmer in there. So pretty. Okay, instead, let's jump into this one just a tiny bit, Solar Symbol. And I'm going to jump into the same brush with that same side because this is the side that I used the glitter glue with. And I'm going to put that just right in the middle. Okay, and now I'm going to jump into that white shade, Life.
I am so intrigued by this shade
because when I swatch it, it feels creamy. But when I blend it out, it reminds, maybe it's a creamy matte, I don't know. I watched her reveal video, so I'm not even sure. Maybe I wasn't paying attention when she was watching this. Okay, so we're going to use this in the inner corner. I was going to use that green shade, but this white one is just so intriguing. Okay, here is the first eye look. I went ahead and put on some mascara. I used the e.l.f. Lash and Roll and the Rose Inc Beauty Mascara. I did go into the Charlotte Tilbury liner. This is in Midnight Blue. I did tightline and also on the waterline. That white shade Life, I did use it as my brow bone highlight. Don't worry, I'm going to finish the rest of my makeup afterwards, like my brows and whatnot. But just wanted to show you what this looks like. But here it is. So let's go ahead and get started with eye look number 2. Okay, so for this next eye look, I really want to use Regeneration, which is that neon green, all over my eyelid. So I'm going to jump into some white concealer and use that as my base. This one is unfortunately from Morphe, and I say unfortunately because I no longer support the brand. So let me go ahead and blend this out on this eye, and then we'll get started with the actual eyeshadow. Okay, concealer is on. I'm going to jump into this Sigma E25, and it's like a fluffy flat brush. And we're going to dip into that green Regeneration. Hopefully this goes well. And I'm just going to start with pressing motions. I'm going to get it all over the lid. Okay, this is what we got, and it took a little bit to get it here. I did have to switch to this brush, which is the E54 from Sigma, and then on the bottom I did put a tiny bit of white liner, smudged it, and then that's how I got the green to stick to my lower lash line. But I think we're somewhere where I like how it looks. Okay, and I think we're going to jump in a tiny bit into this black, which is called Beetle. This is a BK Beauty 204. Okay, this is what we got so far. That black is so pigmented. I literally barely dipped my brush in there. Now, I think I know where this is going, but we'll see if this works out. I'm going to dip into Transformation right here. I know it looks a tiny bit dark. Maybe I should do Solar Symbol. No, let's do Transformation. Actually, let's do this. Let's dip into the white first, and then we'll put this on top of it. Don't be afraid to layer. Layering is good, especially when you're trying to get somewhere. Okay, so I did spray. This is the Sonia, just kidding. This is the Natasha Denona Draw In Diffuse. So I dipped into that white one, which is Life. And I'm spreading this and blending into the outer corner. Okay, now that I have that white base down, hopefully it's going to help with making this Transformation shade just a tiny bit lighter. Let me swatch it. Maybe the base. Oh yeah, see, the base is like pretty light. Okay, I'm excited. I am going to spray I sprayed the back of my hand with MAC Fix Plus. I'm dipping the little pencil brush and dipping into Transformation. Okay, my lovelies, I am back. Here is the completed eye looks. For this eye, I went in to the same mascaras, the Lash and Roll from e.l.f. and the Rose Inc Beauty Mascara. For the eyeliner on this side, I used the Victoria Beckham, I forget what the Satin Kajal liners. Yeah, and this is in the shade Olive. Even though it's more of a dark forest green, I did it for my waterline and to tightline. And as you can see, my eye is a tiny bit irritated. This would happen in some of Jeffree Star's cosmetics palettes, especially when it was like super bright colors like these. So I think it's just the shade itself. There must be some sort of ingredient in it that made my eyes burn just the tiniest bit. But it was just as I was applying and a tiny bit of the powder got into my eye. It's not burning, and I know it looks irritated, but it's not bothering me, and I don't feel like it's irritated right now. It's just the aftermath of that. So if you have very sensitive eyes, just For the lips, I have on the Victoria Beckham lip definer in shade 3 and the Natasha Denona gloss from My Dream collection. For the blush, I have one of the new shades from the Gucci blushes in True Pink. This was sold out at Saks Fifth Avenue and Nordstrom, but now the new shades are available at Sephora. Okay, eye look number 1. And eye look number 2. Two very beautiful, two very different eye looks. I wanted to play with color. This is a very colorful palette. I don't think there's really any shades in here that you can create a neutral eye look. I don't work with color often, but when I do, I have so much fun. I had so much fun creating both of these eye looks. And even though they're definitely not my style of eye looks, I actually do really enjoy both of them so much. I don't know which one is my favorite, but we'll have to see what eye look number 3 looks like. Let me go ahead and get you all started on eye look number 3. Okay, my lovelies, I'm actually back on the same day. I feel like there's still a good amount of light left to where I can get these eye looks done. Okay, we did just get back from going to the one of the Mexican restaurants here. Okay, so we're going to start with this pretty red shade, Ancient. This is the Sigma and Samantha Ravindal Detailed Blending Brush. So this eye look is going to be on both eyes. And I'm going to start in the outer corner. I do have my MAC Fix Plus in the shade Soft Ochre. And yes, I did wash off the other 2 eye looks because I wasn't going to go to the restaurant with 2 different eye looks, especially when they were as bold. Well, at least that green one was pretty bold. And I just went like this with no eye makeup on. Okay, I just pressed that red shade in because I am going to blend. I'm going to Nymph, which is that pretty, it reminds me of a Barbie pink. This is a small little Charlotte Tilbury brush. And I'm dipping the slightest amount, and this is what I'm going to use to blend this out. I am going to add one more shade, so I'm not going to blow it out too much, but I am going to blend the edges of that red out. I'm also going to bring this in here. My kids are downstairs watching a show, so if you can hear that.
My apologies.
And I'm going to bring this in, this pink Nymph shade. Not all the way, but a tiny bit. Okay, very bright. This is not everybody's cup of tea. Now I'm going to jump into that pretty light purple grayish shade, Cerambus. I think that's how you pronounce it. This is a Alamar Cosmetics fluffy brush. The name is like completely gone, so I don't even know exactly the name of this brush. So I'm going to use this for the edges and just kind of blend everything and almost make it look airbrushed. And if you have a towel, wipe in between going in, and you can see the brush is stained. So if you wipe it, you'll start with a clean, well, semi-clean slate. And then not all the shades will just blend together, you know? Okay, this is what we got so far. Now for shimmers. That's always the hardest part. I think I'm going to start with this one here, Jewel. And that's going to go here in the middle. Okay, I'm going to jump into Solar Symbol right here. Okay, this is what we got so far. Now we're going to jump into that white shade, Life. I am going to spray my brush, and I'm using this little Sigma lip brush. It's the E56. So I dip my brush into the MAC Fix Plus first, and then I dip into that shade. You can dip into the shade first and then spray your brush, but this is just the method I prefer. Okay, so let me finish up this eye look and I'll be right back. Okay, my lovelies, here is the third and final eye look. It's very red, it's very bold. Not for everybody. Just mascara. I went ahead and used the same Lash and Roll from e.l.f. and the Rose Ink mascara. For the eyeliner, I went into this NYX Jumbo Eye Pencil 630 Cashmere. It's almost like a champagne kind of gold. It's very, very subtle, but I figured it would go well with this eye look. And for the lips, I have on my Victoria Beckham lip definer in shade 3 and the MAC Cosmetics Lid Lustre lipstick in Sell Out. Very beautiful mauvey pinky tone kind of lip. For the blush, I do have the Gucci True Pink, but I did go in just a tiny bit into Nymph with this Sonia G. This is the Soft Face. I literally dipped into the pan and then I went ahead and just to kind of subside the shade because it was a little bit bright and I didn't want that shade to overpower. But yeah, here is the third and final eye look. I don't wear red and pink often. I know some people love the combo together and they do, of course, blend very well together, but it's just not a combo that I wear often. Okay, so let me zoom you on out. We'll have swatches and talk a tiny bit. Okay, my lovelies, let's start with some swatches. I'm going to start from the top row, probably black to blue, this way, this way, this way. Let me know down below how you enjoy watching your swatches. When it comes to palette reviews, for me personally, I skip through the swatches. That's just, like I said, me personally. I don't know, swatches are not that big of a deal. I feel like you get more about the color story once you actually use the shadow versus swatches. So that could be why for me personally, the swatches are not that important, but I know some of you do actually enjoy seeing the swatches. So that's why like I'm swatching right here and there, even though I'm not even really swatching on camera. It's just not that serious for me, you know? But these are swatching decently. I feel like my hands are so dirty now from the swatches. There are some of these shimmer shadows, like there's one here that I feel is already getting hard pan a tiny bit. This one right here, and it's the one that I used in the middle of this eye look. It's not a big deal as long as, you know, the pigment still shows when I use it, but I feel like that one is already getting hard pan. That red is pretty impressive. Okay, so here are the swatches of the eyeshadow palette. They all swatched fairly well. Of course, I did go over them a couple of times. It wasn't just like a one pass type of dealio. But so far, yeah, the swatches look really, really nice. Okay, so this shade right here is the only one that I'm kind of worried about getting hard pan right here. It could just be the nature of the shadow. I'm sure if you keep digging in there, like you'll still get pigment. As long as I still get pigment, for me, it's not a big deal that I get hard pan. Honestly, I have so many shadows that it's not a big deal. But I know for some of you it is. Other than that, every other shade in here, as far as the shimmers goes, I don't feel that they're giving any issues at all. Everything performed beautifully as far as the shades that I used. So I didn't use this one right here. And I think that is the only shimmer I didn't use. Yeah, I did use the black one, but very tiny bit on that green eye look. Everything else I used, and they all worked great. That green neon shade, you do have to build it up. I of course did not really blend it out, and I have seen people do eye looks with it. I will say it does blend out a tiny bit to nothing. So keep that in mind, but honestly, it's very hard to keep shades like that vibrant just because of the nature of the formula and the shade itself. Best way to use those is probably with a white base and to pack on the shade instead of blending it where it will probably blend away. But other than that, everything else I used performed absolutely beautiful. Now, I'm not here to convince you that you need to go out and get this because I feel like everything's been said and done, and a lot of eyeshadow palette reviews are more color story and what you can create and if the color story calls your name. So you saw me create 3 eye looks. They were all very beautiful. I still don't know which one's my favorite, but I would love to know what your favorite one is. I think number 1's gonna have to take the cake. Even though it's a blue like eye look, I don't like blue. For some reason, I feel like blue eyeshadow makes me look like a clown, so very rarely do I enjoy a blue eye look, and that blue eye look was just so pretty. I will have to recreate it because honestly, I think it's my favorite out of these 3, so don't forget to let me know which one is your favorite. I do feel like this palette is beautiful. Again, congratulations, Heather. Congratulations, Unearthly Cosmetics. You all did a phenomenal job, and I'm super excited that I have this palette in my collection, and I cannot wait to keep playing with it. Okay, well, that's going to be it for this video. I hope you enjoyed the 3 eye looks. I hope you enjoyed seeing me play with color because I feel it doesn't happen super often on my channel. And yeah. Okay, my lovelies, well, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate every single one of you. You have no idea. All the comments, all the likes. If you use my links to shop, it truly means the world to me. So with that being said, I would love it if you gave this video a big thumbs up. I would greatly appreciate it, and you would definitely help me out in the algorithm of hopefully bringing some new and fresh eyes to my channel. And if you haven't done so already, I would love it if you joined my small YouTube family by clicking the subscribe button. I would love to have you. Okay, my lovelies, I will see you all on the next video. Bye.